If I've learned one thing from my long, perilous journey through high school mathematics, it is this. It is really, really useful to actually understand how to factor. So that's what I'm going to try to help you with today. And this is part one in a 3-part series about factoring, so we're going to be focusing on greatest common factor and grouping. So first things first, what exactly is factoring? Basically, factoring is breaking up an expression that might be kind of messy or complicated or just hard to understand into its smaller components that exist inside of it. And you can think of it as pretty much the same thing as factoring a number, taking a number and looking at exactly what makes that number up. And this is useful in math, like throughout high school, because it helps us recognize patterns and identify key traits of graphs, and also finds these shared components in larger expressions that we might otherwise overlook, and it helps us simplify things. And there's tons of other uses, but that's the basic stuff. But before we actually use it, we should understand how it works. So the simplest type of factoring you're going to do is remove the greatest common factor. So this method is pretty much what it sounds like. Let's say that we have the expression 4x plus 2. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to find the greatest common factor of each of these terms. So we're going to find the greatest common factor of 4 and 2. So our GCF is going to be 2, right? So next, we're going to split each term into its factors using that greatest common factor. So 4x plus 2 turns into 2 times 2x plus 2 times 1. And now finally, we get to factor it out. So I like to think of factoring as kind of reversing the distributive property. So here we kind of have a 2 distributed at these two terms, right? So we're just going to basically undistribute, I don't think that's a word, but we're going to pretend it is, undistribute that 2. So it's the same as if you had 2 times 2x plus 1, because if you were going to distribute it, it would go there, and it would go there, right? So we would have this equation up here. And that's your factored version, is 2 times 2x plus 1. Let's look at one more real quick. So let's say that we have 3x squared plus 9x. So first step is to find our GCF of each term, right? So it looks like our GCF would be 3x. So then we can just factor out the 3x, or we can split the terms, but I'm just going to skip that step. And we can go straight to factoring out the 3x. So we have 3x, and then if we divide each of the terms by 3x, that's what we're going to have left. So we have x, and then we have 3, right? Because 3x squared divided by 3x is x. 9x divided by 3x is 3. And this is our factored solution. So as you get more comfortable with factoring, you can just skip the split term step and just go straight to doing it like this, and it saves you some time, but feel free to split the terms if you need to. So now that we've got that mastered, let's move on to level 2, which is factoring by grouping. So this method is pretty similar to using the greatest common factor, but it's used for bigger equations like 3x cubed plus 9x squared plus 4x plus 12. So this definitely looks scary, but we're going to start by chopping it in half. So now we just have two manageable equations that we can factor by GCF. So 3x cubed plus 9x squared is going to turn into 3x squared times x plus 3. And then 4x plus 12 will turn into 4 times x plus 3. So when we add these two back together to create the entire expression again, you might notice that we have another common factor here, right? We have x plus 3 and x plus 3. So what we can do is we can factor that out because it's the greatest common factor between the two. So we will end up with x plus 3, we're undistributing it, right? X plus 3, and then what we have left is 3x squared plus 4. And boom, we have a factored expression. Thank you so much for watching my video. Hopefully this was somewhat helpful on your factoring journey. And if you're interested in learning about factoring trinomials, I'm going to make a part 2 video that probably will be uploaded by the time you person behind the screen are watching this, but who knows, maybe you're early. So anyway, please watch the part 2 if you're interested, and thank you for watching.